Grand Rising, beautiful souls, divine here. It is April 10th at 10 a.m. 10:10. It's kind of funny how that worked out. So I just finished doing a morning meditation, realized that I need to start doing my 30 and 30 meditations again. Before I did strictly a Dr. Joe Dispenza series, I had kind of gotten into working with other meditations, and some of them were more interesting, and then some of them, I don't know. I don't always feel like they hit the same. I guess it's because of the way he reminds you throughout the video on what to do. Where, like, the affirmations, you can say them, but then it becomes more automated at a point than going deeper within with them. Does that make sense? Anyway, so I am definitely going to start doing reflection videos after every video I do. This particular video is just an introduction because I watched a couple videos after the video, so I can't do a direct reflection. I have other things in my head now. I just want to start doing this video so I could get used to being in front of the camera again. Yes. Since I've been going through all these life changes and being called by my spirit name now, it's brought in a lot of new perspectives and insights on the way I view life in itself, my life, others, people's lives. And this is one of the main reasons why I haven't been doing videos, is because it's a little bit harder for me to articulate myself in words of things that I'm going through and the revelations that come to me when I go through these certain experiences. It's nice when things can be condensed, because then the realizations come more quickly and more apparent. But at the same time, once everything slows down, the aftermath is so much stronger, because you have, for me, I have all of these reels playing back in my head of everything that went on. First, it's just like whatever's the main priority thing that I'm trying to get done, or what I just finished accomplishing. And then once I start relaxing again and getting back into the meditations, then it starts the conversations that I had for the last week. Then it goes into the ones from the last month or the couple of months, and having all these reflective emotions to everything. And then I'm wondering, what is the purpose of that? Because living in our past isn't really the heightened part of our experience. Our experience, the heightened part, is whatever moment we're in to the next moment. So I'm really enjoying breathing at this time. I find it's one of the most beneficial things I can do for myself. Appreciating the things that I do have. Reflections sometimes remind me of the things I no longer have, and that brings in sadness. And then it's not so much that I'm trying to push it out, but it's kind of like saying, okay, I understand you were there. I love you. Yes, it was hard to let go of these things. Some things I didn't even realize I was letting go of until they were gone. Whether they were material or, well, I mean, just about everything's material or emotional. So, in the end, some of those things were material. Even if they were flesh and blood, it was still a material concept. Learning different ways of letting that go. This eclipse that we just had brings in a lot more reflection than I normally would go through, I think, on a day-to-day level. Yeah. I had a very uncomfortable conversation over the eclipse. It wasn't as much as the words they were using that upset me as much as the words they were using to describe themselves. Sometimes, I guess, coming to this realization as I'm talking to you, sometimes I like to think that others evolve as in ways that I do, but they don't. They evolve in other ways, but when they don't want to express the ways, it makes it harder to understand why they still use the certain words they use, or if they have that reflection or insight, or how they put it. Like this person that I'm talking to doesn't, we believe in the same things, but they use very different words than I do, and I use very different words than they do. And it's like, I know we're saying the same thing, but then this person responds with trying to turn it around on me thing, and it's like, no, I'm trying to understand why you're using those words, not, and I get so sad because the clarity is not there. Do you ever feel sad when you don't get the clarity? It's like, I don't know. That's my hardest thing in society in itself, is the clarity in the conversations. You think that you're being clear on what you want, what you're willing to do, and all of these things, and then when the situation arises, you realize this person really wasn't listening to what you were saying. They were only plugging you into what they wanted to do, and not really considering how to blend it so it works in a mesh, so it's a better business. High emotions. We all need constant healing, acknowledgement of that healing, acknowledgement of why we need to heal, what it is that we're trying to heal. I mean, everything's about experiencing life. And, your life might not be about acknowledgement. But I know for myself, my life is about all of these things. I know for myself, I created a very complicated life so I could experience all these things, so I could go through all the different emotional processes and reflections. I love being able to help people. I love being able to be of service. But I am also a multidimensional being in a human body. And I love to have a mutual reciprocation where we can both grow and elevate. Those are some of my favorite things. Creating energy, building it into this powerful vortex that takes you to another element that just lights you up from the inside out, and you just like profusely smile from it. It's like when I did my cross-country road trip a couple years back, right? Crossing the border over to Arizona was so emotional for me that I literally got my flow for 24 hours. Just 24 hours, because I already had my regular flow cycle a week before the trip, because I wanted to go after. I didn't want to worry about it at the beginning of my trip, because I was only supposed to be gone a month, so I would be coming back on my flow again. So it was crazy to me when I crossed over into Arizona. I think it was from Tennessee. I'd have to look at the map. I haven't made that trip in a while, and that was the first time doing that trip. So I went through a couple of states that I hadn't been through in like 20 years. Because the first time I did a cross-country road trip, I was 21, going on 22. I turned 22. And yeah, no, I was still 21. I think. I don't know. It's hard to remember sometimes because that's really far back. Like, I literally would have to write out the dates. And we'll just say 21, 22. I think I had my 22nd birthday there, but it feels more like it was my 23rd. But maybe I had two when I was living in Dallas. I can't remember. The first time we went to Arizona was with my grandmother, and I was 9, and I didn't want to leave. We got to walk the Grand Canyon. It was, I mean, the colors. That's when I really, really like fell in love with like sunset colors and orange and yellows and reds and things. Yeah, because when I was a kid, like my favorite color, of course, every girl's color was pink. But no, I loved like green, like that field green. It was like so for me. And then growing up and stuff, and the chakras, and feeling the heart chakra is green, I was like, oh, no wonder I love green so much. And then I had this purple corduroy jacket that I used to love to wear because it had like the little tails on the back and like 2 buttons in the front. It was just like, it made me feel so alive and magical when I was a kid. And then growing up, being older in the chakras, and then learning about, purple, violet, and indigo being like third eye and crown, I was just like, wait a minute, like the reason why royalty loves to wear purple and royal blue, because blues of the throat and the sky and the universe itself and all these things. And gold, oh, don't get me started on gold. I was working on making a gold room before I had to move out of my home. But anyway, I will get to make that gold room when I find a new home that I enjoy fully mind that I can be expressed in. Yeah. We'll see where that ends up being. Who knows? I might just be an interior designer for everybody else. Unless I move into a palace, which is anything's possible, right? I've been dreaming about that a lot lately. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Life has a strange way of turning events very quickly. Go back to my original intention with this video. You know me, I go everywhere, raw, uncut. Yeah, the core of me is still me. And the search of me is my spirit. I'm going with my spirit name and my spiritual life and where it takes me. So every time I've deterred away from it a little bit and chilled with people that call me by my birth name, it's I feel my body going in a different direction. I feel the shifting. I feel my body getting heavier. And not wanting to be there and getting bored quickly because there's not enough full integration or interaction with my growth and what my growth is about and what I want to do with my growth. It's very interesting to me. Finding the right tribe, and it's there's certain people in your life you want to bring in with that tribe, and you think that they are there, but then when you start having certain conversations and it was time to make certain decisions and you watch the way they think and the way they react over breathing and responding and taking time to let it set in and process it and say, okay, we can work with that this way, or thank you very much, but I'm going to opt out on this one. It's very simple to be able to do these things, and some people make them more complicated than they need to be because of the attachments that we still have to certain desires that we didn't get growing up. So we look for other people to fill those spots, but we don't need those people to fill those spots. We can fill those spots for ourselves. We just have to listen to ourselves and open up within, And I'm loving this time to myself, in my space, in my purple sheets, around my things. I mean, of course, it's not all my stuff. It's more work-related things, but that's good because it keeps me a little more motivated in that creative art space. Because I got things ready to make some herbal teas, more candles, some more drawings and paintings, and I want to get my chakra series done. I am working on heart chakra at the moment. I've been making heart chakra candles, but I haven't been doing my paintings yet. I want to, hopefully by tomorrow, I'll be able to do some paintings. We'll see. I want to be able to finish unpacking my car, getting things organized, having all my vitamins next to me. That's the thing about traveling, is everything is okay, I have a bag for this, I have a bag for that, so it's a little easier to find. Because otherwise, everything gets lost when you're traveling. It can be very hectic. Always go, 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 or go, sit and wait, go again. There long enough to want to settle in, but not long enough to set camp. So Yeah, it's an interesting ways of ebbs and flows, learning how to work with time of this human construct. Um, I never did that great with it growing up. Like, I don't get me wrong, I'm very smart, good in school, but I didn't like going. I didn't like I didn't like the way I felt a lot of times, the way I would listen to certain people's conversations, and it would be like malice and intentionally malice. And I just like to stay away from that. I rather live in my own little fantasy world, like play with my friends from the other dimensions over the human construct of the third dimension. And I didn't even realize that as a kid so much as I do now. And now that I understand things more, I feel like it's harder to connect sometimes. Because energies become so different. It's like when I was a kid, I could easily go into Alice in Wonderland and frolic and play, and and then I'd wake up back in this world and I'd be like, was that real? Where did I go? Was that a dream or was that a place? Like, I didn't have answers to it then, because I didn't have the knowledge or the capability of finding the knowledge at that time. I was just experiencing it. And now it's like, it was real. I was right. Yeah, all these things were really happening. And more people in society in this 3D world are recognizing that. And to me, that's just like mind-blowing, right? I'm so happy about it. But then there's still all these emotional attachments that they have. So the ones that I start to have the conversations with, they get emotionally attached to whatever their issues are that they're working through. So then I can't continue having conversations with them. They only go so far. And that's one of my biggest realizations lately is sometimes you're only going to have short moments with certain people until you have to let go to continue to grow. Because they stay in these loops and particular ways of thinking and being, well, I have to do it this way. And it's like, well, you've been doing it that way for so many years. Do you really think you should continue to do it that way? Or should you, like, jump into something else? Nope. Okay. Yeah. I know I love playing with my sheet. I can't. Sometimes I'll get in the perfect position and then I'll move a little forward and I'll start to fall. So then I have to reposition it, and then I can't just reposition the one thing. I have to reposition the whole thing because it just doesn't like sit right when the one thing falls. I know. But I just woke up and I wanted to share this. So it's me and my moments. Yeah. When I used to do my 30 and 30 with Dr. Joe Dispenza, when I was first getting into the meditations and my own healing process and understanding myself and learning about the universe and how things are connected and stuff, I was always waking up in my bed, sitting by my window, because my window was right next to my bed. I miss that a lot. Still don't know what happened to Grandma's house, like families being strange. But anyway, So many things I had to let go of because I couldn't move them on my own. I was very limited with the help that I had. Because I didn't know how to reach out to ask for help. I was in too much pain with everything that was going on. I think that was one of the hardest things through that process is I only reached out to a few people, and the people I reached out to weren't they were like, smack. So I became a lot more introverted afterwards. Now that I don't have those people around me as much, I'm starting to open up a little bit again. But it's hard when you don't have that one friend, that one best friend or partner. The constant communication with one person always gave me a little sense of like, okay, you're not 100% alone. And we're not designed to be alone. But it's so hard for me to understand. Because, it's like they say, when you hang out with one person, your energies start to become one. And then when you pull apart, then there's like all these conflicts, all these emotions that come up with a pull apart. And I have a hard time with the pull apart. I'm learning how to be better with it, acknowledging it, processing it. But the ones I pull apart with I haven't been able to have those conversations with them yet. And it saddens me, but at the same time, I understand that I need to grow in my own way for a while. And it doesn't mean giving up everything I've ever done. It's progressing with things I have done into another level and going on with all of it. I still can't believe it's already April of this year. I was waiting for winter to end, so by April I could be traveling across country. But I'm still not ready. As I was saying before, because I got so interconnected that I was waiting and I forgot about things that I wanted to do for myself. So on that pull apart, I was reminded of all the things that I was meant to do and didn't do. It was painful. Starting over again is painful. So I had a little this saved, a little that saved, and getting things ready to go on my trip, and then now I have to start over again. So it's like, do I do it the same way, or do I just go and let the universe take care of all of it? And that's kind of where I'm at now, because every time I start to get comfortable in one spot, the universe throws a wrench at me. No, you're not supposed to be here. No. This is not where you're supposed to be. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be getting back to Arizona. You're supposed to be going to California. Why are you still in Virginia? Why are you still in Miami? Why are you still in North Carolina? No, you're not supposed to be here. Get out, get out, get out. It's like every time. And definitely not supposed to go to Pennsylvania anymore. Oh, the universe was getting so mad at me. I was like, it was strange. So, yeah, I know I need to get out west, but there's been so many opportunities thrown at me lately. I'm not sure which way to go, which way I'm most deeply called. Do I go to Colorado first? Or do I go straight to Arizona? I feel like I'm supposed to go to Colorado first. But when I look at the map, it's over here, and Arizona's over here, and everywhere else that I'm at is over here. So it's like over here. Because, like, I'm here right now, but I'm going to be here again. So to get to Arizona, I could go straight there. But to go to Colorado, I go up there and then down there. I'm so confused. So this is only my second day of rest. I'm sure in the third day, tomorrow, I should have a clearer vision on how things are supposed to play out. I don't know. Today, I'm just going to focus on cleaning out my car and getting my room ready for production so I can paint. Because I haven't painted, it feels like 2 months. That's a long time. I'm used to painting a little bit every day. Should be a lot of it every day, but I don't live in one place, so it makes it difficult. Because sometimes I have to travel for 8 or 10 hours. It's hard to get 8 or 10 hours of painting in if I'm traveling that much. So I also have to sleep. And painting my car is not easy. It'll be easier when I get to Arizona because I'll be living in my car more. Like I can park it in a spot and stay there for a week and not move. That'll be good for painting and good for videos. It's another reason why I haven't done a video in a while. Is because I was waiting for me to have that time to do that. But the path that I was following wasn't going to allow me to do all those things I wanted to do for myself. And it's crazy. I mean, not crazy. It's mind-blowing to think about all of it. Because, you know, working with the different dimensions, all the dimensions, all the time, it can get very pull apart. Like, literally, body feeling like it's getting pulled apart. I remember one time, I think it was in January, I was going up some stairs and I literally felt like my body was dropping off in pieces. Like a piece of my shoulder dropped off on a step, a finger dropped off on a step, part of my thigh would drop off on a step. It was the weirdest thing. I never went through an emotion like that before. And then it was like, and then I felt like sliced the further I got up the stairs, you know, because stairs, it was like an L shape. So the first going up, I felt like pieces slipping, little pieces, you know, coming off. And then going up the second part, that's when I started feeling the slicing. It was strange. It was very strange. But a little bit about me. I do, if you don't know already, being the spiritualist that I am, I do believe in reincarnation. So I do believe in past life regressions and memories, because our DNA is intertwined with our ancestors' DNA. I mean, if you think about it, if you really think about how your blood works, and how DNA works and the coils and everything when they show you the pictures and how they turn, and this the continuous spiral that we go through in life. And that's how everything circles back around, because we're always in a cycle. I mean, that's why they say everything is round. That's why they say the earth is round. That's why they say the moon is round. All these things. As the three-dimensional. Remember, one dimension is just like a point, 2-dimension is like flat, and then 3-dimension is what we exist as. They used to talk about this in grade school. When I think it was in science class, I remember. I want to think it was 5th grade, because that was Mr. Thompson. I have to give him a shout out, because like he was one of the coolest teachers I ever had, talking about eclipses when I was a kid. It's my 5th grade class, and he had all of us make our little things so we could see the eclipse, but we just did it in 2 paper cutouts, so we didn't do it with cereal boxes, but we kind of like made like a thing so we could look at a thing, so the light wouldn't come out. It was like kind of domey, taping the paper together or something, but like it had spacing in the middle. He was the coolest teacher. He was the teacher where we learned about our different body parts. That was funny, because he had to divide the class in half, teach the girls first, then teach the boys. But like, he was the best teacher at it, because I talked to, we had, I think, 3 teachers for each grade, so there was 3 classrooms for each grade in my elementary school. And at lunch, we could communicate with the other kids. So we would talk about different classes and stuff. And yeah, some of our other teachers weren't as properly explanatory of how our organs work. It was funny. Anyway, I learned a lot from him. A lot of other students that went to his class learned a lot. He was a very loving teacher, and I think he only taught for maybe 2 years after he was my teacher. He taught for like 50 years or something crazy. So yeah, he was a beautiful person of service, and it's like, I don't think he ever stopped learning. I don't know if he ever said that you ever stopped learning. I think he said you never stop learning. Because the best teacher is the best student, right? Never stop learning. Can only share my personal experiences. I'm not trying to advise you on what to do with your life. I hope that you resonate with things that I say and that they help you progress. But I am not here to be your teacher or your guru. I mean, I do live, described in definition as a more shamanic spiritual life. I'm not fully enveloped into the world that I desire most. I'm working towards that. Still understanding some things of society before I leave society and go on my journey. And I think that was the biggest thing about everything, was really understanding this part of the world, or this part of the country, before moving to the other side. Like, growing up, I got to travel to the west a lot. Not so much Arizona and California, but a little bit more like Oregon and Texas. Just because of where people I knew were and stuff. So it was neat being able to be in those different perspectives. And I will say, when you go out west in the desert, if you're not used to desert life, it can be a real culture shock for you. A lot of people don't really understand that, because it's a completely different energy. It's a dry energy. It kind of comes with a there's full spiritual abundant energy, but the ones that aren't fully spiritual abundant will feel more of the desolate because it's a desert, you know. It's dusty. It's hard to breathe sometimes because of the way the dust kicks up. It's a very dry climate, so the hot sun will hit you differently. If you're not used to your body perspiring, you can fully get dehydrated quickly without realizing it. You know, and people that live in that environment are always semi-dehydrated. A little more so than people from the East. Because people from the East have all these oceans and lakes and rivers and water around them all the time. So there's more moisture in the air. It makes a difference. It really does. As I'm one more to take moisture from air than I am to drinking water. But as I've gotten older, I've adapted to drinking more water. But when it's not properly oxygenated, when I can feel the dryness of the water on my tongue when it hits my mouth, if that makes anything sense. It's like drinking water, but it's dry. Usually, I generally just say it's because it doesn't have enough electrolytes, but it's also because it doesn't have enough oxygen in it. This water is made of oxygen and hydrogen. And when you have a higher oxygenated water, your body absorbs it better. It gives it a more healing process to where if it's, you know, H2O compared to H3O. Do your research on it. Now, this might be something you've never heard about before, and you might think, oh, she's nuts. No, do some research on it. The water we drink, it does age us more quickly than the water we used to drink before we had pollution. Yeah. Now, as I said, I am just speaking from my experiences. Do your own research on it. I'm just here to talk about me and hope that you resonate with some of it and that it helps you through some emotional processes that you're going through. One of the things I keep forgetting to do is leaving a nice bowl of cold water by my bed to stick my feet in the morning, because I've noticed lately my hands have been a little puffy. And it's because I haven't been in the ocean enough. My body's starting to react from not having that continuous salt flow. Because I grew up in Miami, so I was always near the ocean, salty air, salty water. My body was used to that. So when I come up to these more northern parts of the East, it doesn't have all the salt. It's more fresh water. And my body's not used to that either. It's like all these little climate things we don't really think about. You know, because like as a kid, it was like, okay, north, south, east, west, up, down, left, right. Not exactly up, down, left, right, because they shift. Because they live on this, they say that it lives on this axle. It's from the magnetic polarities between the two poles. That's what they used to say in school. You know, and there's the core of the planet that's too hot for us to touch. But when you get into the more spiritual realms, it talks about the different layers of the inner planets and the different entities that live in the different layers of the inner planets to keep the planets working properly. How the planets were created. Our Earth was originally flat, before anything was built or created upon it, because it was still in the 2D world, before we'll just say before Mother Gaia came through. You could say Sophia, you could say many things, but do your research. Yeah. Know who's who and why they're here, what their real names are, what their real stories are, not just what a written book tells you that had been revised and revised and revised. So every time a book gets revised, it gets revised into the view of the one that is retranslating. Is the person that's translating an open energy, or are they biased to their upbringing? These are things to think about when you read something, no matter what you're reading. It's very important. There's always missing parts to every story that's not in the book. And that comes to my name, Divine. I am a vessel of the divine. It's taken me a long time to understand what that means, to truly, openly give myself to others without sacrificing myself to others. Because growing up, I used to always just give and give and give, not realizing that I didn't need to sacrifice myself as I was giving. I am allowed, it is my birthright, to take care of myself first, and then give what is my cup runneth over. Not to give more than what is in my cup, because what is in my cup is for me. What comes over my cup is for everyone else. And that's what I use for my service. Because if my cup is not full, I can't give a proper service. I start not having enough energy to give. It's like that core battery. It needs to have enough vital energy in it to be able to produce more energy out of it. Mm-hmm. And that's how we're designed. That's why they say when you're on a plane, always put the mask over yourself first before taking care of your children or your partner or anyone else that needs help. A lot of times we forget to take care of ourselves, to not take that extra oxygen in that our bodies desperately need, because the pollution on this planet has taken away the abundance of our oxygen. So we're only breathing to survive, not as much to thrive. But the more of us that become aware of this, the more of us that become aware of needing this oxygen, desiring this oxygen, the more we get back to our planet, the more trees it can grow, the more plants it can produce, the more fruits it can produce, the more vegetables it can produce for us to grow properly. But if we're always treating our planet with chemicals and pesticides, then we're feeding our bodies with chemicals and pesticides. If we're producing our foods and vegetables through a 3D printer and putting plastic particles in our foods with these chemicals and pesticides, we're not staying in our bodies are not maintaining that 100% organic nature. They're being altered. Our DNA gets altered with these chemical components that get added to the foods that we put in our mouth that we digest through our bodies. It changes our systems. Our systems were never designed to be sick. But once we put these chemicals, things in our bodies, then we are more susceptible to the dis-ease that comes and becomes disease. Does that make sense? I know it might sound a little tangent, but it's one of the biggest things that always comes back to me in one of my meditation reflections. How do I take better care of myself? What is the next step? Came up with a lot of things. One of the first things that I came up was, I miss my son a lot. I haven't been able to see him that much over these past few months because of all the traveling I've been doing. He's moved in with his grandparents. And I'm very, very grateful for that because he needs to bond with his father's side of the family. And I love him so, and I miss him so. And he is on his own journey. And we will have our time together again soon. I know this. Just my heart aches because he's my boy. But he is grown, and it is his life to live, his choices to make. It's just like with my first husband, his father. He and I didn't always see eye to eye in how we wanted to live our life and our choices. I had to let him make those decisions without me. It hurt. It broke my heart. I still miss him every day. But it's the same thing with my second husband. You know, certain choices he had to make on his own without me. It hurts. It's hard to take. But it's the choices we make. As I wouldn't be able to do the things I'm doing right now if I was with either of them. And that's hard to take because of how much I do love them. But we come into these bodies, we made these choices to live these lives so we could experience certain things. And I am so, so grateful for all the lives that have touched mine, for all the experiences that I've had over the years, over the past 50 years. It's been astounding. So, a little bit of myself as divine. Learning how to live, love, and grow within my purpose of what I chose for this life and how I wanted to live this life. And not be lost in the confinements of society's thought process, but through the freedom of acknowledging and understanding and working with the spiritual collective. It's truly given me strength and understanding, an openness, an unconditional love that I've never had before. I'm truly grateful for that. Learning to love the ones that want to stay angry with you because they don't want to work out that part of themselves. They can't see the reflection connections yet. But one day they will. Whether it's in the living of their human existence or when they release their human existence. They'll see it. It's a lot more fun to realize it when you're in the human existence than when you release it. I must say that. It's all about the growth and the unity, all becoming one, because we are one. This duality that we've been living in for so long, this human construct, it's so limiting to what we can really do and who we really are. I would love to discuss with you so many things about that, but we're running almost into an hour of time. It's 55 minutes. So I will be saying, I love you, and I love me, and you love you. I'll take care of me, and you take care of you, and we'll be good. You have an amazing grand rising, you beautiful souls. It's beautiful out there. Enjoy it.